Welcome to another episode of Den Excelsior. It's the live weekly podcast discussing the latest happenings in Marvel across all media. Though don't worry, we're not total fanboys, even if it may look like we are. If it's related to superheroes in any way, there's a good chance it's on our radars. And don't forget, this is also a chance for you to pick our brains with any marvelous trivia or confusions you may have. This episode is being recorded on the evening of Friday, the February 26th, 2021. My name is Dennis, and with me is my distinguished nerd panel. First up, he loves superheroes enough to tattoo them on his body. Frank.
Hey-oh, check that out. Oh,
nice.
What is that?
I'm sure you've got some Marvel ones on there too, right?
Yeah, but I had to take off my shirt.
Nice.
So let's wait for the after hours.
We'll wait. We'll wait. Okay. Next up, he's our producer, who was recently devastated by Daft Punk's breakup. Ricky.
Heyo. It's been a rough week.
Is it rough?
Yeah.
How long has Daft Punk existed? Most of your life?
I think a year longer than me, so 27.
Wow.
So,
well, you'll catch up.
A long time. Yep.
Sorry about that. And then we do have a special guest, and also the reason that I'm recording this from a different room. We happen to share the same home. Our special guest is our show's biggest fan and top commenter, and she's also an artist and my lifelong Patreon subscriber. It's my wife, Lindsay.
Hello.
Welcome.
Nice to see everyone on this side of the camera. And
Yeah.
Ricky, you look very upset, I have to say. Are you okay?
Daft Punk. He's got the red lighting.
Man.
He's dealing with a lot.
I know. I feel like
you know what's funny? Like
Daft Punk bottom that room.
I wake up at 8 o'clock every day, right? And my friends in Texas, we all have like a group chat. And I woke up and immediately checked my phone, and I just see the list of messages like, oh no, he's going to wake up and see it. I don't know if we should tell him. And then I look, and that's how my week started. But
and then, as you can see, we've already got people in the comments, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you, Ricky. We've got Selena asking, one saying hi to Lindsay, and then also asking Frank, how many superhero tattoos do you have?
Just 2, but once the world opens up again, I plan to get another one. I want to get like a pinup of Rogue on my forearm. I think that'd be cool.
Wait, what's your second one?
Death from the Marvel series.
Oh, cool.
Thanos' love.
Yeah, that'd be cool to get like Thanos on my back, just being like.
I have like Sandman Death somewhere over there, but I don't think you can see her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice. But yeah, that's just a reminder, Selena, thanks for reaching out. But anybody else who's watching, we're here. We'll be answering questions the whole time and just saying hi whenever. So feel free to talk. If we'll try and find a good spot to interrupt in there to get you guys addressed. And then, hey, we have a fun show in general planned for today. We promised to talk about WandaVision episode 8, but before we dive into that, we've got some news and rumors to discuss, and also stick around after we'll check in real quick on that Multiverse Bingo.
That's not looking good.
No,
it's not great. Hey, I still love the idea of Multiverse Bingo. It was actually given to us by Lindsay, but it's I think we tried a little hard. I'm excited to do the next round of it for Falcon and Winter Soldier when that comes up.
Yeah,
I think we're going to be more prepared. Yeah, we're going to do some changes on it. But why don't we get to the news, Ricky?
Do it.
Dang it,
All right.
I just realized. Sorry, Ricky.
Wait, what?
Was
What
that
did
good? He
We-
did good.
He did
Wait, what
good.
happened?
Ricky did great. Ricky, you did great. I'm screwing it up. We didn't. I got so excited by having the comment already and stuff. We didn't even get a chance to talk to Lindsay, our guest, just
Nope.
to see. See, we were being rude. I was
So
being rude. host.
rude.
We were being
But you
rude
did a
host.
really good job, Ricky, and you should probably yell at Dennis now.
Ricky,
because
Ricky,
he messed
I
up.
mean,
no, for real.
No, Ricky, that was awesome. This one's on me.
The
I'll take
first
this
time
one.
Ricky does a good job, and this
He
is
did.
how he's thanked.
Hey, okay, now you're making it a little weird, Frank. Making it a
I
little
mean,
weird.
we could run it back.
Just really pile on him.
We'll run it back. You know what? In post, I'll cut it all out. I'll cut it out.
Yeah,
We don't-
man.
we're live. We don't do anything in post. Sorry. Lindsay, before we move on, let's just talk really quick about. I mean, you were our producer on the Star Wars podcast for The Mandalorian. But what is your relationship with Marvel? I mean, other than being married to me, who constantly tells you about Marvel stuff when you don't necessarily want to hear about it.
I mean, that is a lot of it, to be honest. So yeah, I was actually introduced to Marvel pretty early on, like when I first started becoming curious about comics. I think when I was in middle school. But like honestly, I'm probably aging myself here, but at that time, it was not a very female-friendly world to play in.
That is not dating you at all, because that's pretty much at least 50 years of history of comic books.
Up until the last maybe 10
So
years.
it was
Just general world history.
Basically, you could be somewhere between 80 and like 15, maybe. I'm thinking.
Oh man, sorry, that was just funny. I was like, "Wow, you're mansplaining."
That was.
Oh no,
You're 2 for 2 today, Dennis.
I just got accused for mansplaining.
Got it.
Oh no,
Gotcha.
This was a great show, guys. Thanks for watching Den Excelsior.
Bye.
No.
Sorry, I always tease Dennis like this, so don't worry, don't take it seriously, folks. But yeah, so it didn't feel like a very female friendly world to play in at the time. Like it was pretty difficult for me to find comic books that I could enjoy and had rich female characters in it. And then in addition to that, like just going into a comic book shop, like didn't feel very welcoming. But I really love comics. And the way that I kind of got into them was going to bookstores, and I would just like sit on the floor and pick out every single trade paperback that looked interesting, and I would just read them like right there in the bookstore. So that's kind of how I got introduced to Sandman. I really liked a bunch of manga. Like actually, I used to love Ranma 1/2. And then I was also really into the indie comic world. Like Craig Thompson was always one of my favorite writers and artists. But then I always kind of had like a little bit of an issue with Marvel and superhero comics in general.
Sorry, Clark's comment. I wasn't laughing at you. I wasn't laughing at you. This Clark. He said Dennis got wife-splained.
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Dennis gets wife-splained all the time, right, Dennis? I don't even know what's going to happen like after this.
This is going to be a great episode.
Oh man.
Oh, we're not.
I don't mean to mansplain, but I just want to remind you that the question was, what is your relationship with Marvel comics? So just waiting for that answer.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So I was just saying, I kind of like didn't feel the Marvel vibe for a long time, but then you introduced me to a lot of characters and storylines that I had overlooked. You curated a lot of comics for me. Like I think one of the first ones you had me read was the Echo storyline, which I loved. And then that really just kind of like got me back into it. I got really curious about the characters. You have this collection of Marvel Legends, and that was my entry point to a lot of characters. So I feel like I actually know a fair amount of weird, obscure characters and storylines now. Yeah, and I really enjoy the MCU, and I've seen like all the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Oh,
I noticed that a lot of my female friends that are interested in comics, like they get into the indie scene first, and then they kind of work their way into like the more mainstream stuff. And
yeah, I grew up in the Bay Area too, and so like the indie scene there is also really vibrant, really rich. There's the Alternative Press Expo that was there for a long time. I was really into like, I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong, I never pronounce it right, but Yonan Vasquez and like the whole slave labor graphics scene, which is in San Jose. So it's a thing.
Cool. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, I think Ricky, do you want to get a second chance?
You want to play the video again?
I think unless Lindsay has more to share about Marvel or
All right.
anything else she wants to talk about,
No,
Let's
I'm good.
do it.
we
Don't
can check
mess it
really
up,
quick.
Ricky.
How's Ricky, Frank? How you doing before we move on?
I mean,
Doing great.
sad news aside of Daft Punk splitting, it's been an okay week. It was really nice weather-wise. Just chilling at home.
Everywhere I go, I just see Ultron everywhere.
I'm not giving up, man. I'm not giving up.
Yeah,
I
I
just-
just see him anywhere I look. I feel like he's always
What
there.
is that? Is that what kind of Ultron figure is that, by the
But,
way?
A figure? I don't
Good
understand
point.
what you're. I don't know what you're asking.
I saw Ultron. He's there. You can't lie to me.
It's
there.
a Disney Infinity.
Oh, it's
Oh,
the
he's
Infinity
kinda
one.
cool.
That's cool.
did they ever make a toy
Put him
box
closer.
Ultron?
Oh, he looks cool.
I don't know, but
I don't
they'll
know if he did.
they'll eventually make all of them. I think.
Honestly, like I love the Disney Infinity figs.
Yeah,
They're really cool
great.
looking.
Yeah.
I watched clips of Age of Ultron throughout the week, and I never realized that his cheeks in that movie like come in and out.
A little
Yeah,
circle
well,
thing.
the whole idea was he wanted to be human, right? But he also wanted to just destroy the humans. It's a very weird contradiction. Yeah.
Yes.
He wanted to destroy the humans to replace them, right?
Yes. But
Clear.
So
still be,
he
but
wanted to
still be
start with
like
the
them.
puffy cheeks. He wanted
But
to
still
start
be
with
like them. Yes.
our,
All right.
our
News.
glowing red eyes and the puffy cheeks.
I think we can do the news. It's cool.
Alrighty. This one is for Dennis. And did you watch this too, Frank? The Deadpool 30th anniversary stream?
I did not. I wasn't invited by Marvel Unlimited.
That's because you don't
Um,
have Marvel Unlimited Plus,
Oh.
bro.
I got minus actually. Marvel Unlimited minus.
You got to have the plus. So no, but seriously, just I use Marvel Unlimited Plus. Honestly, like I don't read all the time, but I read my comics maybe like, when I do, I try and make the most out of paying for. Man, Ricky's just going right into it. Ricky's just going right into it.
I'm just going
Ricky.
to the main screen.
Okay,
Slow him down. Somebody
Ricky.
stop him.
Ricky, the slides are so fast. That's the end screen. That's the finishing. That's the last screen of the whole
I mean,
panel.
Clark watched
Back
it.
to Leafield. You went too
Let's
fast.
go back.
Anyways,
I want to
Marvel
see his
Unlimited
face.
Plus invited me to a special event. It also invited our former guest Clark to watch, and it's basically just because we pay an extra $30 a year to get. I get a free Marvel or I get an extra Marvel Legend out of it, exclusive, and then sometimes I get invited to events. When Comic-Cons used to be a real thing, we would get invited by Marvel to go. It was usually to some giant marketing scheme that would just like make you feel kind of special by giving you some swag, but then they'd shove a bunch of stuff in your face and say, buy this, buy this. That's what this Deadpool thing kind of was. So they were charging for it too. It was like $20 if you didn't have Plus.
Oh wow.
So
That's
I don't
not
know
too
how
bad,
many. I don't know how many people paid, but like considering all the panels we've gotten during this quarantine for the last year, like that were free, it was weird to see one that was paid and be no different. The only thing bonus, I guess, is that a very excitable Rob Liefeld was there. You can debate or speculate why he was so excitable, but he was there, and I think the thing that I liked the most about it, even though it was mostly just like a series of like Comic-Con style YouTube panels where people were talking about the history of Deadpool through the last 30 years. But the Rob Liefeld part amused me because, full disclosure, I freaking hate the guy. I think he sucks as an artist.
Going all out.
You're coming hard for him.
I just don't like him. I don't think he's particularly should be included in the graduating class of artists that he is associated with, like Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and Will's Portacio, and there's a lot of really great artists that came out of that era, and Rob Liefeld is like the shittiest one of them all. And we can put evidence up there of it. Like it's not hard to find a bad people. If you don't know, Google Rob Liefeld Captain America and you're done. That's it. Like
we've showed it on the show before.
But the guy's notorious.
The feet sketches for sure.
The guy's notorious for not, you know, not drawing feet and drawing really just horrible proportions and stuff like that.
And
but
67
like
teeth.
Yeah, 67 teeth, you know. But like the thing
man, feet are hard.
But the thing about him is like he's like super rich now because he happened to design characters that are super famous. And the only thing I really liked about this whole panel is I got to learn that Rob Liefeld basically had very little to do with all of the aspects that people like about Deadpool nowadays, other than his actual visual look. You know what I mean?
He didn't talking about like the fourth wall and the pansexuality and stuff like that.
Okay, that stuff for sure he didn't have anything to do with, but he didn't even name him Wade Wilson.
Oh,
that wasn't even him.
I didn't know that until you told me.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
That was a later artist. I think it was during I think Fabian Nicieza and Ed McGuinness, and I think there was another writer in there also. But yeah, it was a later group of creative team that started creating all this extra story and giving Deadpool the manic personality and all these. Yeah. And to me, I was like, okay, that's cool, because I honestly don't love reading Deadpool comics or anything like that, but I can respect him in the character because I like pretty much anybody in the Marvel universe for different reasons, you know. So it was fun to see that. That was it. But it was really
one of my biggest pet peeves is Deadpool cosplayers at Comic-Con.
Oh yeah,
they just annoy the hell out of me.
I agree.
I don't know.
Deadpool and Waldo.
Let me refrain. The Deadpool cosplayers that are in full Deadpool character, because I feel like it's a very hard thing to pull off for it to be funny.
I enjoy the enthusiasm. I enjoy the enthusiasm of anybody who goes to a convention and dresses up, to be honest.
Yeah, but just because it's not funny to you, it doesn't mean it's not funny to them. You know what I mean? It's not about entertaining you, Ricky. It's about, did they get joy out of doing it? You know what I mean?
Okay, now I'm on Team Miller. I'm on Dennis and Lindsay's side on this one now.
Like, I'm not going to
converted me.
I'm not going to guilt somebody for liking something, you know, like if somebody wants to get a Green Lantern tattoo on their finger, I'm not going to pick on him for that. You know
I support joy and fandom and cosplaying.
If they get a Punisher tattoo though.
Oh, I need to get that next on my back.
Well, what do they mean by that is my question.
What
are they trying to say?
When they have Green Lantern tattoos, everyone that sees me wants to touch our tattoos like together, and it's always like weird. So if I get a Punisher tattoo on my back, I hope they don't want to touch backs.
A lot of different people are going to want to touch it.
Yeah, it's like the one time I went cosplaying to Comic-Con. It's like Ramona Flowers, and everybody wanted to like hug me. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Oh, same. I do a Daft Punk cosplay, and one time that we did do it, it literally took us an hour to move across the convention center to a point where you have to go to the bathroom. And then that becomes super stressful.
Cosplayers, I have deep respect for your craft.
Yes.
deep respect.
By the way, Clark is in the audience, and he was mentioning that he did like the sketches they showed. And that was something. I mean, you know, Rob Liefeld deserves to be a big fan of the character he created for sure. He had a lot of cool stuff, like showing the original sketches and like the original storyboards he would do. And God, they were trash. But like it was really cool to know that like from that trash he could make less trash. You know what I mean? Like he could make things look better than the original one. So
artists later on took his sketches and then recreated his feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like how, you know, like in law enforcement, they could take a person's skeleton and then recreate like the actual face or like an estimate of what they should look like.
Yeah,
that's what every artist after Deadpool did for that character.
Clean up artists.
Yes.
Well done.
And now I'm going to be like blacklisted from Marvel Unlimited Plus events for sure.
Yeah, you're not allowed to go to anymore.
Oh well. Just don't stop.
Wait until your next cameo from Rob. What if he like mentions this podcast?
It was in the same room.
I know you, Dennis.
Dennis got a cameo for his birthday from Rob.
I didn't want one from Rob.
I bought it ironically. It was me and another friend of ours, Oliver, actually a guest, and we thought it would be
warned
hilarious.
folks, but I still paid in. I paid in.
Oh, you paid? Oh, you paid in too?
Oh, I paid in.
I'll pay in
Shame
again.
on you.
I know.
What else we got on news?
Next up, super quickie. But that MODOK series finally coming out in May.
I did not show this one to Lindsay. I'll show you later the trailer. It's Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt is MODOK.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I don't always stay up to date.
I'm a little bummed that
the trailer was like 2 days old, I think.
I'm bummed that they're going like a comedy route, but at the same time, like it's Patton Oswalt.
I mean, he's a comedic character, right? Like,
he's not. But people like to make fun of him a lot. Marvel likes to make fun of him a lot, internally.
Patton Oswalt is a good actor, though. Honestly, like he can do serious roles and stuff if needed.
I promise the show is not serious.
Oh, okay.
it's like claymation. It's like
has Ben Schwartz and Beck Bennett are also in that.
Ben Schwartz, Sonic the Hedgehog. We were just watching that today.
Oh yeah,
it's a great movie's better than it needs to be.
Hey, we're not
here to
hate
it yet. I'm like halfway through.
I love it. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Or not great, but I mean, for a video game movie, it's awesome.
Pretty funny.
For a Flash movie, it's awesome too.
All the best ones.
Ouch. Burn.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We had a lot of MCU stuff pop up this week.
You didn't even have a picture for MODOK on that one?
I didn't get a picture of the actual show. I just had the logo.
Oh, did you? Okay, you did show
I couldn't find any like screen caps.
That's okay. All right. What's your MCU update?
There's quite a bit, so I'm going to read them off, okay?
Go.
Alrighty. So actually, this is all stems because Feige's doing another round of interviews. I forgot what other.
It's probably to promote Winter Soldier.
There was some other event though, but yes, all to prep Winter Soldier. So, Miss Marvel has concluded filming, or it's going to wrap up filming soon. She-Hulk is going to start shooting in a few weeks, along with Oscar Isaac's Moon Knight, who I don't even think they've even confirmed he's coming on that show, but apparently everyone else says he's coming on the show.
I think they have confirmed it.
I thought Ethan Hawke was the only one that's officially come out.
Oh, wait. Sorry. No, Ethan Hawke is confirmed to be on the show for sure.
Moon Knight?
Yes.
For Moon Knight.
He is Moon Knight.
Ethan Hawke's not Moon Knight.
I thought Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac is Moon Knight.
Oh, wait. You're right. Ethan Hawke is on Moon Knight, but Oscar
He's
Isaac
a villain.
is supposed to be... Okay, got it.
Yeah. Let's see. Feige hinted that there is a possibility for a second season of some of the MCU shows, but didn't disclose which ones.
I would guess Falcon and Winter Soldier is the easiest one to just continue doing.
Speaking of which, Falcon and Winter Soldier will have 6 one-hour episodes. I think that came out a little earlier as well. While Deadpool 3 will be rated R, they are not looking into other MCU rated R or other MCU R-rated properties aside from Deadpool. So that kind of throws a little weird dagger in the blade.
PG-13 Blade.
I don't think that has to throw it. That doesn't have to throw it. That doesn't have to ruin a Blade, but that does ruin a Punisher.
Yeah.
Like
I think a lot of other things ruin the Punisher.
They could probably get creative with the violence.
Yeah, just make
I
like
don't
the blood
want them
look really
creative
fake
with
or
Punisher.
something.
Yeah. Or like make them like sizzle like they did in the original.
Vampire tendrils, or I don't know.
Yeah, they could get around.
I'll just, you know what? In fairness, though, like I always joke about how the MPAA they're really lenient towards Spielberg, right? To the point where he makes movies that should totally be rated R, and they are not rated R. They're like PG-13. Eventually, maybe Marvel's just trying to build enough goodwill that the MPAA just like starts like getting really loose with it. So
James Cameron got a boob.
I would like to remind you that Thanos got decapitated in his last movie. You know what I mean? Like,
but you didn't see the violence.
It wasn't like bloody.
Just before and just after.
Yeah, you don't see the slice.
The head roll, dude.
Yeah, but
just
before, just after. They don't show the action of it happening. That's the difference between R and PG.
What was Lindsay's question?
I was just gonna say like. What would be the property that you wish they would do as R?
Punisher.
And, like people in the chat too.
Blade.
Punisher.
Blade.
I think the obvious one is Blade. All the stuff's announced.
List ones, like weird ones, that would be really awesome if they did as an R movie.
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
I don't trust Marvel with any weird stuff.
I would like Cosmic Ghost Rider to be cool because you can get away in space with alien violence, right? A little bit easier, but
Elektra.
Well, Cosmic Ghost Rider does some like really messed up stuff.
Clark says Power Pack.
Wait, what is Power Pack? I don't know that one.
You know what? The most obvious one is
Power Pack.
Is Jessica Jones. But only because Jessica Jones, it felt weird that she was limiting herself to certain curse words, but whatever.
Clark, why?
I think he's just being facetious. Those guys are funny though. I like them. Like I always bring up their has-been team with Darkhawk.
What? What'd you say?
Darkhawk.
I think Lindsay. I think it really more depends on like the storyline than the character itself. Gotcha. It's just certain characters can't help but get into storylines.
That's fair. I don't think R necessarily means violence.
Yeah,
they can tackle more adult themes.
Yeah, psychological.
Yeah,
craziness.
Like remember in Daredevil when like he had to go like take down the sex traffickers and stuff like that, and it was kind of glossed over a little bit, but that he did do that in the show. So the Netflix shows they towed the line pretty close to almost R.
Yeah. Like Kilgrave got pretty. He was like really on that borderline with Jessica Jones. So
yeah.
All right, last bits of news. Loki got pushed back to July. So it looks like it's going to be about a month gap between MCU shows.
July? I thought I saw June 11th. I thought the news said June 11th.
Let me check my notes.
I don't mind.
And it is June 11th. It is June 11th.
Goodness, Ricky.
I was going to
June 11th.
Ricky.
So wait, is there a gap then? I wouldn't mind.
It is still a month gap.
There is still a gap.
There's still a gap, but it's not a huge gap, and they'll probably fill in the gap with a bunch of Ultron episodes.
Yeah, a bunch of Ultron.
Yes.
And the biggest news of the week, we got a Spider-Man title.
Yep.
The biggest MCU news. Yeah.
No Way Home. I also didn't realize this movie's coming out this year.
Yeah, it's Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Only in movie theaters. They're pretty confident about that.
I like their marketing, how they did 3 different other titles released before that one.
Yeah, they were riffing on
the multiverse.
Holland, right? They're riffing. Well, maybe, but Holland's inability to keep his mouth shut during interviews.
Yeah.
They even did like a little skit with Zendaya and the dude that plays Ned.
Yeah.
You also got some first photos, which I think this is confirmed now that they're in the Sanctum Sanctorum. By internet sleuths who were able to pinpoint different pieces in the background to the Doctor Strange set. So take that as you will.
And he's already confirmed to be in the movie, so I don't know why it's like a giant piece of news, but I'm glad that people took the time to figure that out.
Hey man,
Zendaya's sweater looks really comfy.
Comfy sweater confirmed.
I would love to wear that sweater.
We've just confirmed Zendaya's sweater.
Yes, it's
super
great.
Comfy.
What else you got, Ricky?
Some new Mezco Marvel figures.
Yeah. So this is
Mezco.
Weird. Oh, I was going to say they're doing the Toy Fair reveals, right?
They have their own little Mezco convention, but yes.
Right. Everybody's doing their own Toy Fair reveals because Toy Fair is usually like the E3 for action figures and toys and stuff, and because of the pandemic, this is the first year without a Toy Fair, so everybody's independently leaking or releasing their information throughout like the last 2 weeks. It's really a weird cycle, but the Mezco Fantastic Four figures look amazing. What do you think, Frank?
Yeah, they're fantastic. They got the original colors and the original lineup, obviously. And what issue is that? Issue 2, I think. Issue 1.
I think it's supposed to be 1. I just don't like the cloth goods, but they look all right there because in the old school Fantastic Four, like their physiques were kind of hidden behind those outfits. So I don't mind this on them. It looks cool.
I like it looks like the cloth extends on the glove, which is a nice little touch. You can see the seams on his hands.
Or it's just a hand that's molded that way permanently.
Oh, I'll give him more credit than where it's due.
You should not.
There was also, what was it? A Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
I don't like that cloth. The cloth is no good.
I like it.
It's a cool figure. I just don't like the cloth. I don't like it.
And then a Wolverine.
Oh.
I think I've said my piece.
Yeah.
It just hates cloth goods.
Kind of just bunches up right there.
Yeah.
Bunches
Yeah,
up.
it does.
It's like the threads you don't like, right?
Yeah. I don't like
threads are super big.
They're too thick. The threads are too thick that you can see them.
There's certain characters though where that texture works really well though.
Like Sackboy, yeah.
Yeah, Sackboy, exactly. From PlayStation.
Yeah.
There you go. I think they're cool figures. I'm not in the business of paying $80 for my toys to wear clothes.
Damn, they're
you have standards.
Yeah.
Last bit of news.
$20 at the least. Or
Nope,
at the most.
those are 75 to $80. Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to them.
They do come with a lot of stuff though.
Good luck to
Last
them.
bit of news. Not that. From last week, we didn't get to mention, but there's a Miles Morales Hot Toys of his 2020 suit.
Yeah.
I'm excited about.
Check out this bad boy.
Now, see, here's the difference with what I was saying before. When we were talking to Nas about this last week, I said that figures at the 6-inch scale don't wear cloth well. The Hot Toys guys, these guys are making giant 12-inch figures. You know, I mean, they're pretty big, and I think the materials they use for the fabric and stuff like that look so much better. But also, this is that head with the Daft Punk homage, right? Like that's yeah, it's so cool.
Lights
the jacket
up,
looks good.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
Yeah, because they can scale it up, they can add more details. The fabric looks a little better. You know, everything looks
background.
Better. Yeah.
Oh man, I explained myself. She said amazing. I said spectacular.
Oh my gosh.
It looks friendly neighborhood.
Oh my god.
I still have yet to play this game.
Oh,
really? It's a great game.
I haven't finished it yet. It's kind of like hanging out on my PlayStation.
Yeah, I've not finished.
I agree, Clark. It looks amazing.
Yes.
Or spectacular.
Or spectacular. Or web of.
Or adjectiveless.
Yes. Or adjectiveless.
That's the news.
Thank you for the news, Ricky. You did a great job cueing that video both times. You just know that the only reason I'm being nice is because she's here.
Okay.
You can tell me, Ricky.
Hurting you. Blink twice, Ricky.
Well, I think we've waited long enough. It's time to put a spotlight on WandaVision episode 8. Go for it, Ricky.
Woo!
Cool.
Woohoo!
Right.
So, since it's fresh on everybody's minds, let's just give a quick recap. This episode was titled Previously On, and they've been really clever with the titles this whole season, and this one was no different. Because it did do what we kind of expected after last week's Agatha reveal, which is it started doing the flashback, right? It started with the flashback to set up for all the audience members who don't know who Agatha Harkness is, here's a nice flashback to show that, and then surprisingly, the rest of the episode was mostly kind of flashbacks in a sense, right? Because Agatha wanted to understand Wanda's power, or the origin of it more. So they started doing a nice fancy tour of all of her past traumas and memories and stuff, and everything leading up to how Wanda took over Westview, New Jersey. So I don't know, what you guys think of this episode? Like, what was
it was probably everything but one major thing. There's one person that was missing from this trauma. I don't know who. I can't.
There was somebody, and
will you still do the kazoo just for fun, Frank?
Maybe I'll do another time.
By the way, I hope it was clear that once we started talking about WandaVision, that we're spoiling now. So sorry about that. I spoiled a little bit just now.
Spoilers.
No, yeah. So Ultron's not in it, and I'm not gonna lie. That makes me sad. Well, I think my thing was I wanted Ultron to be the reason behind all the digitally looking stuff. So like if Ultron shows up next week, it won't feel the same to me. You know what I mean? Because it wouldn't be Ultron responsible for all this crap. The
idea was he was the big bad, and it would be
and now
bad.
He's not. So like even if he showed up now, it's like, why didn't you do that better? Like,
he's all, did somebody say Ultron? And then he just pokes his little head in.
Yeah, but Lindsay, what did you think? What was something you liked about the episode?
Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting episode. Like, there are definitely high points and low points. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into it yet, but definitely the big thing for me was just leaving a little space to talk about all the different characters and like their grief and how that grief was really the main source of conflict and the main theme in the show.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the showrunners for being willing to go there and showing grief as it shows up for all of these different characters, from Wanda to Monica to
and
even
Hayward too, right? Yeah.
And the townies.
And I'd say Agatha too. Like, I expect there to be some maybe Agatha grief processing happening eventually. I mean, we'll have to see.
She killed her whole coven and her mom, right? So
yeah, she's like, I just want to be good.
Yeah,
I would assume that would be traumatic.
Well, Monica, or you already said Monica, didn't you?
Yeah. No, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because like it's something that you mentioned a few weeks ago while we were watching the show, and I've been wanting to touch on it, but like it's just become, I think it's just become the thing that has not been cheapened most in the show. Like it's just, whatever things are in there that we nitpick, there has always been a strong theme of grief for all these characters, and that's been what's the common thread through everybody, just about, with the exception of crappy Darcy. But you know what I mean, and to an extent, Jimmy Woo.
They're there for
comic relief. She gives us grief.
She does give us grief. Yeah.
Then we have to process our grief.
But Darcy. Yeah, we are watching all these other characters go through something really emotional, but all this extra stuff's always happening, so it's hard to like focus on it. And so I was excited that you wanted to talk about that, because I'm kind of afraid that next week might derail that conversation, right? Because this was the penultimate episode. Next week is going to be the finale of this season, or maybe the show. We don't know for sure. But they got a lot to wrap up, regardless of if there's an Ultron, or if there's a Grim Reaper or a Mephisto or anything else other than Agatha. Dear God, please. It's gonna be busy next week, So this week is the last perfect time to talk about all the sad that went in there,
One of the things I really appreciate about this, before Lindsay starts discussing her points, is what we were talking about last week with Nas. The fact that like when Marvel starts touching on grief or any kind of sensitive or sad subject, they undercut it with like a dick and fart joke or something like that. Not necessarily a dick joke, but definitely a fart joke, or like some kind of stupid joke. And this one doesn't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fantastic.
They definitely gave time for everything. Everything had its space to give its own weight to, from Wanda's flashbacks as a kid, to her transformation scenes, to her seeing Vision for the first time after he died. Like, everything was allowed to breathe, and I don't necessarily think you could get that type of minutia in a movie. So it's nice.
The only thing I don't think was allowed to breathe was the amount of baggage that they piled onto her first trauma. That was a lot, dude. It was a lot. It was like,
I feel like they really just focused on like showing you all of the trauma that she's experienced, but they're not really going through the processing part of it and how you come out on the other side of grief. Because I think what they're trying to do with the theme is talk about, how grief can lead into something positive, and maybe it can lead into acceptance at the end. But they've kind of spent so much time on the trauma that we're really not giving her enough space to really process things.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if y'all have seen like any of the Reddit threads about like the stages of grief. There's like a Reddit or a theory.
Yeah, the first two episodes are denial, and then the second one is bargaining, right?
Yeah, it's like denial, bargaining, anger, depression was the last one, the Modern Family one. And then so now supposedly we're going into acceptance now.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen that yet. It's more just making everyone aware of the trauma that she's experienced, but she's not working through it yet. And I was really hoping that they would kind of go a little bit more into the parallel grief between Monica and Wanda. And like, can that relationship between the two of us, because they obviously have, or two of them, because they obviously have some connection, since she keeps trying to pull Monica into her world. Like, how are they supposed to kind of release each other from this pain? And I feel like there's not really space to do that at this point.
No.
So that's a little disappointing.
Unless the last episode is 3 hours long, which Ricky's hoping for.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this was a long one, though. This was 40 minutes.
Feige said in an interview, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like 46 minutes with only 27 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit longer, right? And then one other little thing that is a bit disappointing to me is centering Wanda's griefs so much. Like, I understand that she's the title character, but why are we glossing over Monica so much? And there's kind of like a race tension going on there too. Like, we're focusing so much on the white woman's grief and not really exploring the black woman's grief. So that feels like a little bit strange to me as well. Yeah. But overall, I really commend them on tackling that type of really complex subject. Well, and kind of making space for people to talk about it. Because I've been seeing articles all week about grief and what it means. And it just feels very relevant to the time we're living in right now.
Mm.
I mean, but the show's called WandaVision, not Wanda Monica Vision.
Well, I would hope, from what Monica's...
Her grief should take the foreground. And then I agree that Monica should have tied in a little better. But, I mean, I understand it being from one perspective.
Yeah, it's more just from the representation perspective and just what I personally would like to see, because I was so excited to see a show with a female lead. I would have liked them to focus on that relationship between the women a bit more, but I understand why they didn't, because, they also want to push the MCU along. And sometimes that theme is in the service of pushing along the MCU.
Right. But just to be clear, Frank, I mean, yes, the title is WandaVision. But, just because you read it as Wanda and Vision, it can also be read as Wanda's vision, it's her vision of reality. And we learned today that is actually more in line with what the show is, right? Because that hasn't actually been real Vision the entire time.
Well, we talked about that. The show's from her perspective as an unreliable narrator. So, of course, if she's dealing with her own grief, she's going to be kind of like a regular human is going to be kind of self-centered about processing their own grief. You don't actually, try to process other people's grief. You can't do that.
Yeah, everyone's the hero of their own story.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Right. So it's still from her perspective, no matter how you slice it.
Yeah,
but I don't mind seeing a Monica show, because I think the actor is really good and the actor really hit all the notes that she should have. But this isn't her show yet.
But what I'm saying is, we were defending, when Ricky was saying is that even really Vision? And we're like, yeah, we think Vision's real because he was getting his own scenes in the show. And it turns out it's just not at all. And Selena's mentioning, she read it as...
You could just say it.
Yeah. But Selena's also mentioning, I read it as instead of television, it's WandaVision. And that's also another way of looking at it too. You know what I mean? And so... and then Clark was also mentioning, that he thinks they really wanted to justify the sitcoms by showing each stage again. But yeah, and
I got that sense too, Clark. Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's true.
They're kind of showing their work. Look what we did.
But that's also
made it very
copied all of these things.
Yeah,
stage by stage, which didn't really add to it, but yeah,
it didn't. But at the same time, I also feel like that's what I was referencing when I said they tossed a lot of baggage onto that first trauma, because that first trauma had to be responsible for why this whole show has been sitcoms. That first trauma had to be the reason why Wanda's constantly had a fluctuating accent through the entire Marvel universe. and that trauma also had to be a justification for how she survived was a justification for proving that she actually had latent, possibly mutant abilities way before she ever got experimented on. Because
there was a lot of world building happening.
It was
too much,
too much on that.
It also had to show how she opened herself up to exploitation from both Hydra,
it wasn't
Hayward, and whoever else.
None of it was I don't think like that particular, like she had powers to begin with. I don't think that's definitive though.
Lindsay,
I think they just cracked that door open.
Yeah, I mean, I got the sense that just based on like Agatha's reaction to her hexing, that they pretty much confirmed it. Also, just like thinking from like a writer's perspective, like there's the whole thing with like never show a gun in Act 1 unless you fire it in Act 3. Like, why bring it up unless it's true? Like,
why bring up Ultron twice in the show if you're not going to have him, right? You're like,
why, writers?
Aerospace engineer?
No, but Ricky, that's probability hex is what they used to call Wanda's powers back in the early Marvel days, and so that whole section of the show was Agatha demonstrating to Wanda how she's just casually using all of these abilities that Agatha had to train and study years for just to like barely even be able to use. And so she's saying, dude, you were so pro, you didn't even know you were using a probability hex to have a bomb designed to destroy its target just land here on your parents and not go off ever, and so I don't think it's a question. It's not like a maybe I think they're saying Wanda did have powers before. Yeah, and that's why she's the Scarlet Witch, right? She's some foretold
Chupacabra.
Yeah,
wouldn't that just muddy the Pietro's powers?
Sure,
a little bit, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is consistent with the comic book where they were altered by the High Evolutionary to have these powers. So they appeared as mutants and they appeared as Magneto's kids, but they ended up taking that away. So.
Yeah. So maybe next episode, High Evolutionary, Bova, Grim Reaper, Wonder Man.
They each just take off a mask. It's all like all of them, and then who's
I would have gotten away with it too.
What did you guys think about the other scenes, like her trauma scenes? Anything stand out for you?
I like Frank was joking earlier, but I did really feel that it wasn't fair to visit all of those traumas like by showing them, but then for the Quicksilver one, they took the cheap way out and did not show her brother dying, which to me, it's not about showing her brother dying. It's about, can you please explain to me officially how in Age of Ultron, she's over at the church destroying all these Ultron robots and Quicksilver and Hawkeye are out somewhere else. Quicksilver gets shot dead. Like he's across town and she instantly knows her brother's dead. Do you know what I mean? Like that was a really cool, that was a cool scene.
You know what?
I'd like it to be magically associated. Like Agatha had another power on deck that she could have explained. Oh, and you were channeling this flim flam flu, power that made it.
Honestly, I feel like they were kind of zeroing in on Vision's role in helping her process that trauma and those grief.
I understand they were
chose not to show it because it would have kind of added an extra layer that
require you to
go to. Yeah, so they
no, it would have required them to put an Ultron in the show, is what it would have done,
and Aaron Taylor Johnson. That's what it would have done.
No, you could have showed a dead body, and then like how she was able to just feel. I know, Clark, that there are many stories of twins being connected to that, like that, but like I want to see that. I want to do that.
I mean, I'm always an advocate for show me, don't tell me. But
yeah. I want to see what that was that did that for her, because hers was a little bit more than normal, like described twin trauma, I guess. But Selena, I think. Sorry. Selena, I was asking the question of who is the angel looking figure thing that she touched when she touched the Mind Stone. That's what I was saying. That's the Scarlet Witch. That was her, Selena. She was seeing the future version of herself that will likely appear next week. That's when she takes her final form. That is the Scarlet Witch's outfit in the comics. That's what she was wearing.
Do you think it's like the Haunting a Hill House crooked neck lady thing?
No, because it's not that smart.
Okay,
the show's
good.
not that smart.
Okay, cool. That's where I was at too. But okay.
And we're not going to be the jerks who spoil that show either.
Oh, I am.
That's a
I
great
will be
show.
here.
Highly recommend.
Never
the
seen it.
Phoenix Force. Like, do you think it's kind of like a Phoenix Force? The Scarlet. The way she was talking about it was like with reverence, like it's a myth, it's a legend, it's something outer worldly. Do you think
it was
kind of
presented something like that, so it probably
Yeah.
is going to be something.
Well,
like
it would make she is a they're kind of teasing that she's a Nexus being in the MCU, right? With last week's commercials.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that ties into that whole thing, how she's always destined to be that,
like Biff in the Back to the Future movies.
Yeah.
How Biff is Mad Dog Tannen, and then you have Griff, and then they had a cartoon where they went back in time and there was dinosaurs. They evolved into like kind of people, like dinosaurs, and there was a Biff that was a dinosaur.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I do want to go back to the we were talking about the DVDs, I think, earlier, or that we were talking about the sitcom stuff, and like I thought it was really interesting. As much as I'm harping on that first trauma that we see, it was kind of sweet to see like the reason is that her dad, who she loves, is he's in like this. I'm judging it based on the Halloween costumes that Frank has made judgments of before. Sokovia doesn't seem like it's a very, it's probably like a third world nation or something like that. And, her dad's out there just trying to make $1 by, selling these American DVDs. And I thought it was cool that the DVDs like are all the different ones from the, from the different shows. But Frank and I started talking about it and we're like, but when was Addams Family? And I'm like, well, there's witches on the show. And then he's like, yeah, but what about Who's the Boss? And we started talking about that a little bit. And it was when I realized, I was like, wait a second. When Pietro showed up at the surprise, twist at like what, episode 4, I think it was 4 or 5, something like that.
Like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, something like that. And he's wearing the leather jacket and showing up. And I think I had mentioned that he reminded me of Uncle Jesse. I didn't realize that what he really was channeling more was Tony Danza's character from Who's the Boss. And so for fun, because I started remembering, because I grew up watching that show. I looked up the trailer, or I mean, not the trailer, the opening scene for like season 3 of that show. And I'll be damned if like the scene in that intro for Who's the Boss, where Tony shows up to Angela's house at the door and she opens the door and she's wearing a towel on her head and she just got out of the shower and stuff, and it's exactly the same filming Frank, the framing and angles and everything like that. It's exactly the same. And I'm like, oh man, there was Who's the Boss in there. And so for me, what I started realizing is like there's some really cool visual storytelling that is going on and some really good art direction on this show that I don't ever want it to be bogged down by all the stuff that we hate on, So like I was pointing out to Frank, another cool thing I noticed is like Vision's body, like when we see it in the sword building, in the flashback, I was noticing his body is all red and gray. And that's actually exactly the same color scheme that he had when he was born in Age of Ultron. And then Frank was asking me, well, is that the color scheme he had when he died? And we're like, we thought he lost color, but I went back and looked, and like in Infinity War, he actually is still red and gray. He just kind of like, he mutes. He goes a lot darker in color. And then Thanos discards his body into the shadows. Like, so it looks very gray, but there is still red on him and stuff. So I thought it was cool because like the art directors are showing you this, that like Vision's color schemes or whatever projections he's wearing ever are actually something that he's actively doing at any given time. You know what I mean? It's like we see him in Age of Ultron become green and yellow and have all these colors and a cape. And we just kind of assumed that it was because, he just changed himself to be permanently that way. So it was cool to see that the people behind the scenes that are making sure visually things match these sitcoms or visually throughout all of the MCU, these things are being told, like these stories. I appreciated that, even if the writing at certain points was like, You
I
know?
really like that scene that in the Sword Base with Hayward and Wanda.
That was great.
Especially Hayward. I couldn't tell if he was trying to get a charge out of Monica, but I like the conversation a lot.
Was.
I felt he was egging her on. I felt he was egging
He
her
was
on.
totally egging Wanda on. He was controlling her like a puppet on a string.
Well, I like the point he made. He's like, you know, we're not going to give you Vision. He's $3 billion in vibranium, and like that, to me, that kind of like sealed the deal on that whole explanation. Because like, of course, you can't just like make a memorial or a mausoleum for Vision. That's just like a target for anyone to come in.
Well, imagine somebody saying that though about somebody you loved. Like if you're trying to recover the body of your husband or your wife or your girlfriend, and they said no, they're too expensive.
Well,
so he was
if your husband was the $3 billion man, then you know you kind of have to.
I'd be curious how everyone outside of the Avengers views Vision. Like, do they see him as a person or
they
not?
Absolutely do. That was the whole point of Age of Ultron is to like they accepted him by the end of that movie.
Because the Avengers saying, like, people who didn't have a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Like, how do they see him? Is he like another Echo or something like that? And so
you know,
we'll have to treat him or think of him
if I just saw Ultron, you know, destroy a country, I wouldn't be too kind to robots, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I mean that's Hayward's like whole central conflict, right? Like he's so angry about what these superheroes did to the world.
You know what?
He wants to burn it down. He wants to destroy it.
Ricky, it's that kind of mentality. You don't deserve the X-Men, you know. Just because one X-Men does some bad stuff, or one mutant does bad stuff, and then you just start hating on them all because they look that way.
I know. Everywhere.
Ricky's building robots now.
Yeah, give me a Sentinel.
Let's go.
You just hated on Ultron and now you're building Sentinels? What the hell?
I know, for reals. Actually, I had a different take on Hayward. It seemed like he was being legitimately remorseful, or at least well, like when a military person goes to someone's house and lets you know that someone got killed, lets you know that a loved one got killed. It was kind of that same kind of feeling I got. It wasn't like a personal thing. It was just something that he wanted to kind of say to her. It was like his duty to like kind of deliver these news and let her say her last goodbyes.
Yeah.
But from a distance, like, don't go down there, don't touch.
He did drop that nugget though of like saying that she could bring him back to life, and that seemed a little.
That felt manipulative.
Online.
Yeah,
who knows?
Yeah, that's what felt weird. Is like he did feel like he's like maybe you could. You want to try? You want to try? Just, I mean, it's here. You have the chance, you know. Like, if you want
I don't get that because like, why would he want to start a fight with her? He knew that, if it's common knowledge that she could have beat Thanos, then he wouldn't want to pick a fight with her. So why would he be like, hey, bring her back to life?
I think he was trying to get her to try to bring Vision back to life because he wants, like, that's Project Cataract is bringing him back to act as the sword
and painting him white and painting him white.
Yeah, to protect
that's the important thing.
Earth.
You gotta
and painting it white.
Make it white.
All the
and
cool
foggy.
people have to be painted white.
I do see that
in some way.
This plan would have unraveled if she got like a burlap sack and put Vision parts in there, and then was all like deuces, and they're all like stop her, and she
hops in her Chrysler and dips out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we always knew there was something shady about that video he showed everybody a few weeks ago. You know, like it's and now I'm thinking back on it. I mean, it's not a lie. He just didn't show how that video ended, really, right? He just.
Oh, I thought they showed him like for taking them. Oh, okay.
No, she just
remembering things that don't exist.
Yeah, exactly. You're Mandela affecting the show already.
Memory sucks.
Yeah, but I will say this: like I when Frank told me his take on Hayward, I'm like, yeah, there might be something to that, but like I will say either way, great acting on him and everybody in this episode. Like that was probably one of my favorite things about this episode is there was barely any stupid kids and there was absolutely zero Darcy and no Jimmy jokes at all. It was just all good
for your
acting.
consideration episode.
Yeah, exactly. That was what this episode was. It was great.
Yeah, there was some good stuff coming out of Agatha. I thought that whole scene between Vision and Wanda too, where he was like comforting her after Pietro's death, was like so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I even looked up the line because I thought it was so beautiful. Like what is grief if not love persevering?
That was a great line.
Yeah.
That was when Agatha teared up. Like I don't know if she's being sarcastic or if that was like the
I
character
couldn't
really
tell.
crying. I couldn't tell, but that was good. That was good.
It was
about that
cool.
about that scene, I want to bring up. She didn't have her guitar there. Like she has a guitar in Civil War and not Age of Ultron.
But this is right after she moved in, so maybe she didn't get a guitar yet.
Or maybe she blasted it to bits with her finger waving, and she shot red wiggly woos when she was playing Skinner.
She bought it at the market in Lagos.
Yeah.
Play us a tune, Frank. Play us a tune.
You know, the one thing you did kind of bring it up. It's Agatha was kind of having fun, you know, because you can't tell if she was being sarcastic with the crying, and I'm assuming that's because she was making other jabs at Wanda earlier in the stroll down memory lane, right? Like she was like, "What's with that accent?" And then like, you know, I think she was also mentioning something about like, "Oh, okay, so your parents get blown to pieces by like, you know, this organization. So what do? You go and join up with an anti-freedom group? Like this is like, you know." And I will say this, like. This is, I mentioned it to Lindsay, and this is something that like really rubs me wrong about Marvel and their writing sometimes, is rather than figure out a way to like right their wrongs, like storytelling wise, they just make somebody make a joke about it later on, like a couple years later, or maybe
I always
story.
took it as like kind of poking fun at themselves and being self-aware of the critiques that fans have, and like podcasts like this, for example.
Yeah, but like just because Hawkeye says, "Look, we're on a city, it's flying, there's a bunch of robots outside, and I got a bow and arrow. This is all nuts." You know, just because Hawkeye says that, it doesn't make it less ridiculous. You know what I mean? Like it just makes me break my suspension of disbelief for a second and say like, okay, why did this is dumb.
I don't
say
it.
that. You know,
I just feel like it's the writers like peeking out and being like, "Boo," and then going back behind the curtain for a minute.
That didn't bug me too much.
That's fair enough, Lindsay.
That's how I read it.
I can't argue with that.
We read Reddit.
Yeah, we read. Yes. All right. Fair enough.
Can we talk about the positive of that scene too? Bryan Cranston and his entry into the MCU. That's incredible. That's awesome. I'm glad that he's in the MCU now.
Yes.
I thought about him like, damn, he can't now. It's gonna be weird when he does eventually join years later.
Yeah. When he's Mephisto or something.
I don't know, Frank. I mean, I feel like it's kind of dirty for you to be referencing the Malcolm in the Middle scene when you've never seen Malcolm in the Middle.
I'm living a life of sin.
Yeah, you are. It's a great show. I honestly felt really validated when I saw that chest open up with the Malcolm in the Middle DVDs, because like that's exactly what that episode felt like to me. Like nothing else. It didn't feel like any other show besides Malcolm in the Middle. So I was really happy to see that. But I know, you know, fans have been poking fun at the show and saying like, there's no way in hell there was a Malcolm in the Middle box set already produced by like early 2000s when the show started in 2000. You know what I mean? Like
Sokovia too.
Yeah, in Sokovia, right? Like,
yeah, her dad needs to start selling bootlegs. Who sells?
It could have been a bootleg one. I've seen bootleg movies in TJ with pretty good production value.
That's fair, but it wasn't. You know, it wasn't.
He's legit.
Maybe she made the wiggly woos. She altered probability to make it happen.
It's true.
What did you guys think about the purple wiggly woos? Or like anybody in chat, what did you think about the magic?
I like
the new
magic. The new color. I like the new color.
Is that your hot take?
He's like, that was it.
I like purple.
I like purple wiggly woos. I do. They're good. They're good.
You know, we've seen space magic with Thor. We've seen
he's gonna draw this
wizard magic with Doctor Strange.
Let's go.
It's nice to see this time.
Yeah, I know. It's just more magic.
Since you're brought up Doctor Strange, I want to bring up purple wiggly woos because when Doctor Strange fights Dormammu, Dormammu shoots purple wiggly woos at him, and he blocks it with his green shield. And then Agatha shot the purple wiggly woos, and that kind of tells me that it's some kind of dark magic.
Yeah. I mean, it's
because they kind of imply she has like a blood pact, or
she made a pact. Nice call. Yeah, Dormammu could be involved.
Dormammu could be the big
was
bad.
saying like you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to like contact that world or whatever.
And that's what was it?
Basileus?
Basilicus?
Basileus? Because he's Silius. Because I remember, like,
Basileus. The bad guy, the mini boss in Doctor Strange, the guy that's like
with the prim makeup.
Yeah, the guy.
That guy. Okay.
The follower,
the
disciple.
Zealot.
He's the disciple of Dormammu,
it's a
right?
Very silly name too.
Yeah, it's so Basilius.
Yeah, but maybe that's her deal,
there.
and that makes it more compact and more makes
I like that there's different magic, and it's not different for the sake of being different colors. Or from what it seems right now, there's meaning to these certain colors and the types of things that they're tapping into.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I like all the systems. It's cool. It like.
Sorry.
It just makes the chaos magic cooler for me. Her wild magic.
Frank, did you think the first rune that she sewed looked a hell of a lot like the House of M logo?
I've seen so many video essays that say that.
Oh, really? I haven't. I didn't look at it.
If anything, I think it's just a nod, like the Chateau de Mépris.
Like, but it looked like it, right?
It definitely did. It looked like Magneto's helmet for sure. So
yeah.
I
thought that was cool.
Did y'all see Clark's comment about the dark dimension energy?
It was Caecilius.
Oh, and the bad guys in Doctor Strange get their life sucked out. Did that happen? I don't remember that.
They did.
Oh, it did happen. Okay.
They did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I do enjoy that magic. So I wonder. It makes me think of what blue magic might be. If it's some kind of good magic, or if it's like some kind of like more natural magic.
Blueberry flavored.
Blueberry flavored. By the way, Frank,
I would think it would be good magic, right? Because if Monica's like if Wanda has kind of chaos bad magic, and then the purple is mixed.
Sure, maybe it's on like a spectrum, like their magic vibrates on a certain frequency, like to get scientific with it.
But the weird hand tutting magic is green, and I don't know like how that fits into all of this.
Maybe
I don't think it's all green. The
time stone magic.
The chosen one does yellow, right?
Let me take
her
1 second to just let you guys know that if I go dead, just keep the show going. I just heard like this thunderbolt outside, like as if Thor is about to like beat my ass right now. I do owe him $13, so
nice.
I'm coming to get it.
At least we were notified.
Yeah. Tesseract, blue magic, Clark says.
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be.
Or yellow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what she used to bring Vision back, right? So, wasn't that like Soul Stone, or is that?
I don't know. But
all the colors.
What was I going to say?
Colors are cool.
Frank, by the way,
they're also associated with the different stones, right? Huh?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Each magic comes from the stone stores. Crazy.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a really good. Yeah, because she alters reality with chaos magic, duh, and that's why it's red. No,
they're all from the different stones. Clark cracked it.
Yeah.
Clark didn't say anything other than
he said the Tesseract is blue magic.
No, he asked a question: is the Tesseract blue magic? He's saying, is the Tesseract magic? Like,
well,
quick,
me
Clark,
and Lindsay
do a video on your theory.
Quick, do a video.
Put it to the internet.
Backdate it. Hurry.
That would muddy it though a bit, because in that timeline there's no more stones, right?
Yeah, but they're cosmic. It's cosmic
energy.
radiation.
It's the energy can't be destroyed.
Yeah,
that's fair.
The energy always exists.
What were you going to say, Dennis? You've been trying to say something.
I've been trying to say something for a while, but
all right, go ahead. We're just talking about magic.
Yeah,
it's not even
like a
worth
show
it.
or anything.
Not even worth it anymore.
No, say it.
I was just going to point out, Frank, you were saying earlier about my the dead Ultron theory, which by the way, your theory about Westview being all dead is also.
I know that's.
Sadly, like a lot of our theories got shut down today, because of this episode. But you had promised me to play the kazoo if Ultron was there, and I would argue that I got my kazoo today. So F you. I got a Brady Bunch episode of Bobby playing the kazoo in that, and I was like, "Whoa, he's playing a freaking kazoo!" I was like, "I don't even need Frank to play a kazoo."
So that's proof right there that MCU watches us. Feige watches our show. He's one of the views that we got.
He's our one Patreon.
The pen name Clark Crane.
Dude, I told you guys how like it's following me, right? Because we were chatting earlier, and like Oliver asked me how many episodes are left, and then my phone did an autofill and said just one. And I was like, what the hell? How does my phone know there's one episode left of WandaVision? I'm just saying they're clearly watching us. So, we should start coming up with cool ideas for things to happen in their shows since they are listening to us.
We did.
You own a phone. Everybody's watching it all the time.
So do you guys have more likes, dislikes you want to talk about, or do you want to talk about like the questions and maybe where we see this going in the last episode? Do you want to talk about those things?
I mean, I can weave the longer the show goes, I think Frank will agree, the weirder it gets for no Doctor Strange. So I think next episode is the mention, the appearance.
Why? No one ever said, okay, one, Kevin Feige may have said that this show is supposed to be 6 hours, and that's going to bite him in the ass.
I don't
but you know what Kevin Feige never said?
That means
no, but Kevin Feige never, ever said Doctor Strange is in this show.
But the events of this show will tie directly into his movie.
And that Wanda is in that movie. Mm-hmm. Wanda's in that movie. She's going to be a prominent character in that movie. So why does Doctor Strange have to show up in this show? Why can't that be the thing that happens next?
The cool magic dude on the planet, and a lot of cool magic stuff is happening on my planet, I would like to assume that I would know about the cool magic stuff.
And Agatha can sense the power, right? So maybe Doctor Strange can. But I think they're gonna pull a early Thanos thing on him. Like he's gonna show up in post credits or something.
Yeah, I'll be fine with that.
He's just gonna
but you're saying it gets weirder and weirder if he doesn't show up. Like I'm saying he doesn't have to. It doesn't make it weird if he doesn't show up in her story. This is her story about her grief and how she's dealing with the loss of vision. It doesn't have to have.
But when her story starts affecting,
we don't want your mad magic
but
here.
Ricky, what I'm saying is, why can't we continue that in Doctor Strange's movie?
We could.
She's gonna have a loss of vision, and next episode, double vision. That's insane.
Yes.
But
at least she's not Weekend at Bernie's.
Bernie's? How do you use
Oh yeah, that's actually very comforting to me that she's not actually like flying his dead corpse around.
Yeah.
Town. I feel a little better.
That does feel better. Okay, but anyways, Ricky, what other ones you got? Like you want Doctor Strange? That's fine if that's what you want next week. I'm just saying sometimes you make your predictions and say I'm gonna be pissed if this thing doesn't hapen, and I'm like, why? But that's not fair. You should owe us something if that thing doesn't happen. Instead of saying I'm not.
No kazoo.
Are you gonna drink a whole bottle of hot sauce?
I can drink a bottle of something, but not hot sauce. No, it would be cool to we got a lot of cool Wanda world building, but it would be nice to see some more MCU world building.
We got Spectrum.
We might get that. Because we still don't know exactly what Fietro is. We know she was like skin writing him, or at least viewing through his eyes, but he still could be snagged from the Fox universe.
Yeah, I agree. Possibly, I think there's a lot of world building that can still happen with the pieces that have already been established in this show.
What's the Fox universe, Dennis?
The X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're saying Evan Peters still could be from the Fox universe, Quicksilver. Because Agatha said she used a crystalline possession. She said like she couldn't make a Fietro. That's not what happened. But she did possess him. She possessed him. So that's implying that Wanda still probably did pull a Fietro out of the... Or maybe the crystalline possession involves pulling somebody out of another universe. Who knows?
She could make a doorway out of nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing but hair, right? So,
but it's not. It hasn't been completely refuted that isn't actually X-Men
Fietro.
Yeah.
And if they did a post-credit scene with him, and so this gets into one of my theories, my prediction theories. I call it the "I'll get my big brother on you" theory, and that's when Magneto or someone comes out of the doorway and's all like, show me on the doll where they touched you, Fietro, and then he'll be like, oh yeah, that's the chick, that's the witch that did it. And then like Magneto's all like, all right, I'm gonna get you, kind of thing. So it could still be that. And if that were in a post-credit scene, it would be right at home in the MCU, and then they can build on it on later movies.
So your prediction is Magneto will show up and ask Pietro to show him on the doll where
they touched him.
That's almost as dumb as Doctor Strange showing up.
If that one happens, I'm gonna play on the kazoo the following week for you, because I'll have to order a kazoo, but I will do this. Okay.
Fantastic.
Yes. Ricky, do you have any others, or should we go to Lindsay? You got any predictions for where this is gonna go?
Not any concrete predictions. I think it would be cool if they kind of explored Agatha a little bit more, like why she's doing this, any emotions she has,
100%
what's
agree.
going on there. And then it would be cool if they also like confirmed Wanda's agency, like if she really is the one who like made all of this happen, if they just like actually confirmed it, because I still kind of feel like Agatha is this weird red herring and she didn't actually like make the world, she just found it. So what's behind the whole thing? Is it truly Wanda? I would like them to confirm that.
I agree that we definitely need some more Agatha explanation, because like, one, we just got a stupid music video last week that said it was Agatha all along, and then it turns out this episode we find out, well, Agatha didn't actually do anything. All of it got done by Wanda, and then Agatha kind of just showed up and was like, hey, there's some cool stuff going on here. Wow, you got some crazy magic. Can I get in on this TV show? And then for some reason it says it was Agatha all along.
They gifted us so many beautiful memes this week.
Oh God!
Oh yeah,
there are some good ones.
So many.
You know, I would like to know more Agatha stuff, because also to that point, like why now? Like why reveal? You know, you could have done this episodes ago. Were you waiting for the kids?
She's the shark from the Yo Magic commercial. She's got to eat.
She probably is. Dude. Yeah.
Well, she's probably like sucking life to like extend her own life, right? That's her whole thing.
And like, is that a pop-up? Is that like a pop-up magical basement that she has, or was that basement there when Quicksilver bought the lot next door so that they could have their dream home? Was that?
I think it's the dimension. Like we talked about this before, but I think it's just another dimension or something.
All right, but I'm saying I would like these things if we're answering a little bit more of Agatha next week. Let's solidify who this character is before we dip out.
She had a book with a tree, and then she has branches all over that basement.
Yeah.
So maybe the tree has some. Oh, you know what? The tree and freaking the Tesseract. Right? Yeah. There's that, and the
Norse tree.
Yeah, and that ties in with the tree.
You mean Yggdrasil? Yggdrasil?
No,
yeah, you can pronounce it.
That's
I can't.
That ties into what was at the Hydra base, how there was a carving of a tree that symbolized which symbolized the Tesseract.
The Yggdrasil is the gateway to other dimensions in like Norse mythology, and I think that's how it's treated in Marvel as well.
That's what I'm saying is.
Well, it is because that's where the Tesseract is, and that's what the Tesseract does.
And so the basement can travel like Doctor Who, because it has
the basement is a root of Yggdrasil or something like that,
or a Groot.
Yeah, like if she's like hanging out below Yggdrasil, maybe they'll bring that giant freaking snake in too. Why not?
Maybe
there's a lot of threads, and I'd be curious to see which ones they choose to wrap up next episode.
I just want to know what Agatha actually did. Like
she's eating. She's trying to eat.
Yeah,
she has to like continuously suck life to survive. So she's just looking for life.
She sees Wanda as this power source, you know.
But she wants to know how to get that power, because she's not. I don't think she's strong enough to take it from Wanda.
Yeah, or she wants to also control that chaos magic. Like if that's the reason that she made the deal with whoever she made the deal with in the first place, is to become more powerful than her mom and the rest of the coven. Like maybe she's just very hungry for power.
Or she might be trying to be good, and like she's just one of those people like Theon Greyjoy who makes like really bad decisions.
Ew.
I mean, she did make comments on like how, I couldn't remember the exact phrasing, but she makes comments along the lines of like Wanda is evil, right?
Well, because of the chaos source.
She says she's like chaos magic, and that's dangerous. I think
like she needs to take out Wanda.
She doesn't say she's evil. She says
because she's dangerous. Yes.
Well, I think she's danger. Well, just anyone, like an untrained person with a handgun, is going to be more dangerous than someone that's trained.
Yeah.
She might just want to even like get Wanda trained up or something like that, so she can get her card for wielding.
That could be the misdirect. Is we think she's going to be evil, but she's actually trying to bring out the best in Wanda or something.
She's working with what's his name from Doctor Strange,
Caecilius.
That hasn't come back in the sequel.
Mordo.
Yes. Too many wizards, right? That's his line.
And yet you're like, man, it's so cool to see magic in the Marvel universe. And now you're complaining there's too many wizards.
No, I'm saying that's his line, right?
He was saying that Mordo said that. He said that last week.
Mordo. That's at the end of the episode.
Oh, gotcha.
Or end of the movie.
Okay.
I'm
I'll
down.
never complain about wizards more.
I'll take him as a Doctor Strange stand-in too. So.
Oh my god. That's fair.
One thing that I don't want to happen, I don't want to see Vision do a sacrifice again. I don't want to see anyone do a sacrifice anymore. Like, I'm tired of that. Vision's already sacrificed himself like a couple times, and I'm
literally a couple times.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I don't know that Vision's going to sacrifice himself, but I do think Wanda's going to let him go. And I think the whole White Vision thing is going to end up being exactly like the White Dream thing in Sandman, if you've read that. Where he's like a totally different person, and he has to like figure out what his life is now, and like he remembers a little bit of the old stuff, but he's never exactly the same.
That would be cool.
That's what I think is going to happen.
I think they foreshadow that it's not that kind of show, you know. So I feel like there will be a death that occurs. I just hope it's not a selfless sacrifice kind of thing.
I learned today that Vision was intended to be white originally, but back when he was created, getting white and printed in a comic book would just mean he would be the page color, which wasn't the color that his creator wanted. So that's why they added the green and yellow. Fun fact.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, they did make him white in the comics in a similar story, right? As the government got a hold of him. Yeah. The government got a hold of him, and they took him apart, and then they removed Wonder Man's memories from him, so he was kind of like a blank slate, and so it's a Vision that's soulless and cold, doesn't know who he is. So it's very similar for sure.
Yikes! It's gonna be like Loki, the Loki arc.
Yeah, kind of right. Like it could be. Maybe it's just Vision and Loki going off and doing fun adventures together.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It's like a buddy cop series.
Yeah,
like Data and Star Trek,
just like Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Just every show's going to turn into a buddy cop series.
Nice.
Strange and Wanda.
I know this question will most likely get answered next week, but where are Monica and Fietro? Like, we saw them last week standing at the basement, and then like Agatha and Wanda just did a whole freaking episode, and they ended up out on the street, and yet we still don't know where the hell Monica and Fietro went.
They got held up by Darcy, and then
I was gonna say.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They're not going to wait there for them to get back from memory lane.
I guess Vision somewhere to be. He'll just show up too. Everybody's going to show up. I kind of thought what I expected.
Where's Vision? I totally forgot.
Yeah,
like a smorgasbord of characters.
Yeah, I kind of thought what I expect to see next week is like, I would like to see Vision be made whole again, but like I wouldn't mind if he's like different, you know, just like I want a Vision alive again is what I want. I don't you know, if you want to take the character in new directions, that's fine. I don't
you want Paul Bettany to keep having a job.
Yeah, but I agree. Like I feel like there's a lot of pointing to a gut punch. I don't want to see a Vision die again. It's not. Don't do that to me three times. That's
3 times. Yeah, 3 times.
I mean, unless you count that one a couple of weeks ago where you started getting ripped to shreds, you know. So,
well, if the death is happening next episode, a big grief moment. I mean,
yeah. Well, it doesn't.
Wanda's safe. I feel like Monica's safe.
She'll be like the last Airbender.
Love will persevere.
Yeah,
but I do agree with you. I did have it in my notes, Ricky, that I do agree that I don't think it has to happen in this show. But if we're predicting longer term, what's going to happen? I think that Wanda's newfound chaos magic power is the reason that Doctor Strange is going to be brought to her. I think that that's going to be the thing, and that he's going to feel that he needs to train her. Then he's going to take her off the board for a few movies or a few years so that her super powerful like power scale
They
level.
can renegotiate her
like,
contract. And...
Well, yeah, but we don't have to have a situation in the movie where we're watching the bad guys do something crazy and then we're like, well, Wanda could just fix that right now if she was here. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like,
well, see, that's like, to my point was like, that's how I view Doctor Strange in the MCU right now, as he's this all-powerful magic being. So it just seems odd that interaction or that conversation hasn't happened sooner.
I don't think it is, because I think what you're not getting is that, like, Doctor Strange is powerful, but like he's not all powerful. And two, Doctor Strange's job is to protect the entire dimension, not just to go and answer the house call that you think he should go answer.
I mean, if
I mean?
I'm
like,
pulling people from other dimensions, as you guys are implying, that deserves a house call.
He didn't do a great job against Ebony Maw, to be fair.
Exactly. He
got
his
a pretty
butt kicked by
job.
Ebony Maw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're putting a lot of faith in him. Like, just as a reminder, yeah, Doctor Strange didn't survive the snap either. That is not all powerful at all. Like, he's a dude. He's still a dude.
He's a dude.
Like, you're putting too much. Like, here's the thing. Like, Marvel has demonstrated to us, like, a lot of us may not like it, but like, they've demonstrated that their power scales in the movies are not necessarily accurate to the power scales in the comics, right? Like, and that's because the power scales that we know in the comics are after like 30, 40 years of being in the comic books, right? So like, we've been complaining, we as in like the comic book nerds have been complaining about Wanda not being proper Wanda for like the last 8 years or something like that, right? In the movies. And so we just weren't patient enough to accept that Wanda is gradually getting to that point, or maybe not so gradually in this show. She's kind of been jumped up about, turning the notch to 11 or something on her, or the dial to 11. But, if you think about it, like, if she was already this scale, like just in her previous story, then Endgame would have been a completely different movie, right? It would have been the Dick Van Dyke show starring Thanos. Like, it was that close to Wanda just wrecking. Like, she was one trauma away from being able to completely handle Thanos, So I think it's reasonable to accept that Doctor Strange is not where you want him to be yet. You know what I mean? Because we need to let Doctor Strange grow. Like, we want to see that growth, right? You like to be shown, not told. Do you want to show? You want the next Doctor Strange movie to just say,
he had a pretty big
read
power
all
jump
the books and now I know all the magic in the world, and I'm God.
Infinity War.
It wasn't a huge power jump. He was just learning how to use the time gem, really, right? Like
he didn't use it at all in that Thanos fight.
I kind of agree with Ricky, because
he did not.
Well, he had to hide the time gem first.
Yeah, he couldn't use it. Yeah,
but he used like the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, and he used like the
and he's
Mirage
still lost,
or whatever.
And he's still lost.
Yeah, and he's still lost. Yeah. But I mean, like, he had more powers displayed than he did.
Did he lose though?
Right.
Did he lose, or did he know that he needed to lose?
No, the Crimson Bands were before he did the. Weren't
No.
You're right. You're right.
He did the risk assessment before.
It was it was pre-rat scenario.
But that's a rabbit hole that
let's not go there.
But in any case, I've gotten comfortable with just like let's let them tell it. Why be in the rush? We're always in the rush. You're always like, this, I need this next week, and it's like, if
I don't get it by that movie,
well, I promise you're going to get an explanation of why Doctor Strange and Wanda are hanging out together by the movie where they're hanging out together. And that's what I'm fine with. Like, do it in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, have the TV shows be nuggets of cool, this enhances your experience kind of thing, but don't have them be like, this was what, you didn't watch that show? Oh, now you can't understand this movie. You know what I mean? Like, that's not how they normally make their movies outside of the Infinity War and Endgame thing, which was a whole weird necessary thing.
There's a lot of that though in this show. Like, if you just watch WandaVision outside of any other MCU content, this is definitely a weird show.
For sure, but it's also giving recaps that you would never see on a regular show. I saw Thanos in the recap this week. That was nuts to me. That blew my mind. That I was like, oh yeah, we'll just pull in a Josh Brolin, cameo in the recap.
No face though, but you did see Thanos.
No face. Yeah, but I'm just saying, we saw Aaron Taylor Johnson a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like they're just ripping scenes from their multi-million or billion-dollar like making movies and just putting them in as previously on, and I just think that's super cool.
That is cool.
And so I don't mind if the show tells its own story about grief and has a nice, beautiful ending, and it doesn't have Doctor Strange in it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to. Post credits is fine. Post credits is fine.
Or not
fair.
Or not at all. Yeah.
Or not at all. As long as I think what they're gonna do though is probably reset Wanda to her state of grief that she was in
at the funeral
in Endgame, because it would need to be able to. You'd need to be able to watch it without having seen the shows, if they're catering towards like casual viewers or filthy.
Yeah, she seemed like she was in an okay place at the funeral in Endgame. Like she.
I think it was like the calm. It was the calm before the storm, right? Like grief builds up over time.
Yeah, she didn't seem.
So I think she'll be on the other side, but we'll see.
She didn't seem like she was going to take out Westview in that scene. I didn't get those vibes.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and then so we had
because she hadn't like,
seen the body
settle yet.
Yeah, you just have to reset the status quo. You're right, Frank. That like if they can make her sad but optimistic by the end of this, that's where we want to be. Right, that's growth. That's growth. Yeah, that's growth.
That'd be fantastic.
So,
this is me advocating for the normies for once in my life.
Yeah, and then if Doctor Strange and Hawkeye show up to save all the women from all the bad guys, that's even better, right? Like that's even like, because then they don't have to do any of the work, right?
They can just put their feet up.
You're not touching this. This is why I'm advocating for them not showing up on the show, man.
You're gonna cancel us.
I'm gonna cancel us. What am I doing?
Oh,
Lindsay, stop making those faces.
She's
gonna
not
commenting on things. Did you watch the documentary, Frank?
I did not.
The Behind the Mask.
Oh. What's
Leslie
funny,
Leslie Vernon. I watched it actually the other day.
This is hilarious. So you guys were talking about Behind the Mask, and I put it on Shudder as I normally do before I go to sleep. And Behind the Mask was playing on Slashix, so I watched it. And I'm like, oh, cool.
I watched it too.
Yeah. So I didn't watch the correct Behind the Mask. I watched the one I wanted to see.
Yeah,
and it was good. I will agree, it's good.
We probably got to get going soon. Do you want to look at the bingo really quick? I mean, it's kind of silly, but
let's just take a glance at.
Let's do the thing. Do the thing, Ricky.
Ricky's potential win.
Do the thing. This is the part in Multiverse Bingo where we look at our bingo cards and realize that nothing actually changed from the previous week. And it's looking more and more like none of us are actually going to win. Ricky has the best chance only if the name Natalia Maximoff gets named. If she gets named, Ricky takes the whole thing. For us to win, oh my God.
Y'all made it too hard.
It's just, we went too hard. We learned a lot. When we do Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we're going to put like words like the.
We're going to make our
card.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think you can count some of these though, as long as they're like mentioned, like mutant, AIM.
Like,
yes, Lindsay,
you can get a clear win right there.
Lindsay, we could count them if they were mentioned. They're
no,
not.
But like, there's illusions. There's illusions.
Well, you wouldn't count the Grim Reaper helmet. I would give you that one.
I would count AIM because of the beekeeper in like the second or the first episode,
and the hexagons. I'm just kidding.
Arguing. Woo.
Yeah.
Frank's the same.
Yeah, if we could get a Mephisto, like I'm good to go.
Yeah. Frank, you have a decent chance here, but
I don't think I'm going to get Alchema. I don't think I'm going to get Mephisto or AIM.
Now, 3 years from now, when we find out that Mephisto was actually behind it all, we will retroactively give you the prize. Yeah.
I will save these and take these.
The prize, unfortunately, is a fresh pizza. So 3 years from now, that might not be good.
That's fine.
I feel like the yellow should count.
The yellows, I think it's on the burden. The burden's on Ricky to fight for his
yeah.
yellow.
I mark
when Magneto shows up next week, I'm gonna get a double win.
Nice.
So when I put Natalia Maximoff, that's the name of her mother in the comics. Now the trick is they decided in the show that her mother's name is Irina Maximoff.
Dude, that counts.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Because there has to be a reason they chose to change her name to Irina. There has to be a reason.
Because Black Widow's name sounds too familiar to that, and they want to not confuse people.
Let's say Pietro is the Fox Quicksilver. He is a mutant.
Would
I get that? So
if they got to say the word mutant, they keep pussyfooting around it, but they need to just say the word mutant and just be done with it. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah,
it's the I love you of the MCU. You just can't pull it too quick.
Elephant shoes.
But who knows? Who knows? It was fun. It was fun when we got the Bova. I mean, Bova was there.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't looking good for the first couple.
Remember
weeks.
when the show had all this potential?
Ricky, you won in my heart.
Clark, you said they showed her mom and she's not going to call her mother Natalia. That is true, but like, what if her grandmother, or what if the lineage?
Clark.
What if the lineage reveals that the Scarlet Witch is actually born to someone named Natalia? I don't know. I feel like if Natalia doesn't show up, man, Ricky's not winning.
Fair.
It's not winning.
What's new?
Yeah. We're all going down together. We're
all are punished.
We're all
not allowed
going
to
down.
win. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Unless Ricky can argue it next week, it's done.
Next week is Ricky's time.
No one
unless Natalia Maximoff comes in and be like, "I'm the real mom, yo."
Yeah.
You should just do a vote in the chat next week.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Maybe that's not a bad idea.
Does Natalia count?
Put it in the.
We can see.
Clark votes yes.
I think we should probably get going, guys. This was fun. It was the weird episode where it's like, okay, you just took the I think, as Mikey put it, you took the wind out of our sails. With a lot of theories got shut down today. It's still fun. Like I said, like we liked seeing, all the art direction and all of the visual consistency. And we like seeing a whole episode about serious, issues going on. There was good in there, so we'll see. We'll see how this goes next week. I'm not holding my breath.
The visuals are great. I think that's their strong point, like with the sailboats, how I mentioned a couple weeks back, and the giraffe, and just all the animals and the symbolism that they use. That's fantastic. I think all that, if anything, even if the show turns out to be a big, punch white vision fest, it'll still be cool in that it made some good visuals for us.
Yeah,
I like it. Yeah. It's brave. I appreciate them.
And it's entertained us for the last 2 months, So hey, good job.
Yeah,
show. But
subscription's paying off.
Yeah, but I think let's wrap it up. Before we go, would anybody like to share where people can find you? I know Lindsay's got it there on her little nameplate.
Yes, Sea Cow Soda. Come check out. I have arts. Look at my arts. Ooh, check out my arts.
You can find her on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, she's drawn for fun, and that's how she's keeping herself entertained when she's.
Is there a meaning to the Sea Cow Soda? Or is it just?
I like.
Don't get me canceled.
No, it's. I've always had a weird affinity for manatees, and the soda is for fizzy-headedness.
Oh, that's cool. Is the girl with the rainbow colored hair? Is that like a Caldeo, like a human Pokemon Caldeo? No. Okay.
No, she's just a girl with crazy rainbow hair.
Frank.
I know. I was taking a risk by saying it, and I knew I should have just not said anything and just be like, I like it.
I didn't.
A Rainbow Dash.
I'm not nerdy enough for that one. Sorry.
Rainbow Dash is great. No, it totally wasn't a joke. It was a reference to Pokemon.
Frank, where can people find you?
Usually on PSN. I'm playing GTA right now. I'm about to play Chaos Head, which is an all Japanese game. So I'm really testing what I know. Which
and how can they find you on PSN if you want them to?
Oh, Franca Girl on PSN. Franca Girl on PSN. Xbox Live, and I want to say Twitch.
Man, when we blow up, you're gonna get so many
Yeah,
friends.
That's a mistake.
Yeah,
it's gonna be nuts.
Don't give
And
people
then-
your PSN.
And then Ricky, where can they find you?
Ricky the Nerd on Instagram. That's where I post most of my stuff. And yeah.
Awesome. And you can find me on Denix Media at Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Did I miss any?
Nope.
All the things.
OnlyFans.
I think I got it.
OnlyFans.
No, I use a different name on that one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, thank you, Lindsay, for joining us and for coming on our show. Thanks to the audience for tuning in. It was a little weird not having you in our audience, Lindsay, but we still had some great people asking good questions and giving us feedback and stuff. And yeah, for anybody who enjoyed this, whether you're on, you're listening to us or watching us, please remember to like and subscribe. And, you can find us on Patreon. That was the other one. See?
Oh, Patreon. Yeah.
Patreon, DenX Media as well. Yeah, thank you for watching Den Excelsior. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Enough said.